Time for deck request number 5. I mean, deck profile request. It's still sort of a deck request, but it's a deck profile because I've used the deck before. Anyway, deck profile request number 5. YouTube user DanielFireWalker asked me to do a deck profile of my 2012 version of the Final Countdown deck. So, what do you say? Let's do this. After these few moments of silence, you've probably looked at the extra deck and went, what the hell are you doing there? Same for the side deck. I'll explain in a bit. First, of course, the main deck. And, of course, the main card is Final Countdown, otherwise it wouldn't be called the Final Countdown deck. Card Final Countdown. It's a card with a win condition, just like Exodia or Destiny board. You activate it and you pay 2,000 life points as a cost. So even if it's negated, you still pay it. Because you pay the cost before any response can be given. And then, at the end of the 20th turn that this card was activated, after this card was activated, counting the turn you activate the card as the first turn, you win the duel. Some people think it's like, as soon as you play it, the start of the turn the count goes up. So let's say you play Final Countdown and you end your turn, then the opponent draws, that's immediately turn 2. That is not the case. It says specifically on the card, after 20 turns have passed, so the turn has to be over. So, just like in the automatic games like Tag Force World Championship, the count of Final Countdown goes up at the end of turn, before, like after the end phase of one of the players and before the draw phase of the next one. Yeah? And after 20 turns you just go, it's the Final Countdown! Just like I do in my videos, and then it's over. Alright. So the whole idea is to get Final Countdown quickly. I have a couple of cards I can search for it. Hopefully you want to get it in your first turn. If you get it on in your first hand of 6, you're good. You have a really good chance of winning. If you don't, it's going to be quite hard to find it because you need every turn you can get, really. Alright, so the whole idea is to stall, and I have a lot of cards for that. I have 2 copies of Arcana 4-0 the Fool. Arcana 4-0 the Fool is a monster that cannot be destroyed by battle. So the whole purpose of this card is place it in a face-down defense position, and hopefully the opponent won't have any effects that can take it out, because battles can't take it out. I have 3 copies of Battle Fader. I don't have that many monsters, so the opponent will likely go for direct attack at some point. But if you don't control any... No, when your opponent declares a direct attack, you can special summon Battle Fader, and then immediately the battle phase ends as well. So that way you can get 2 extra turns for Final Countdown. And, well, 1, but that way you can set something up on your own turn again, which pretty much gives you 2 turns, and you only use 1 card, so that's good. I have 3 copies of Cyber Valley. All 3 of its effects I have used in duels with this deck, but it's mostly the first effect that you want to go for, because when this card is targeted for an attack by an opponent's monster, you can banish this card, draw 1 card, and end the battle phase. So, you do get rid of your own Cyber Valley, but no, doesn't really matter. The battle phase ends, so in other words you get 2 more turns for Final Countdown, and you get to draw a card, so you can draw into any other monster or any other card that helps stalling, or if you don't have Final Countdown yet, you can use this draw to hopefully find Final Countdown. I have 3 copies of Swift Scarecrow. It's comparable to Battle Fader, only Swift Scarecrow is discarded, is just discarded, so usually it'll end up in the graveyard, but with Macrocosmos on the field it'll end up banished, and it will also end the battle phase, so the only difference with Battle Fader is that Battle Fader gets summoned, so you'll actually have a monster at the start of your next turn, usually. I have 3 copies of Zero Gardener, also 0 attack. None of my monsters really have any attack points because they don't have to. I'm not planning on attacking at all. And its effect states that you contribute it to activate its effect. You can, by the way, use this on both players' turns, so it's a quick effect. It's spell speed 2. And if you activate its effect, you tribute it, so usually it'll end up in the graveyard. And during that turn, all your other monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, and you don't take any battle damage. So if you use it on the opponent's turn, let's say at the start of their battle phase, you may not have any monsters left, but you can't take any battle damage. and usually it's battle damage that is inflicted to take you out. So then again, you get 2 turns for Final Countdown. I have 3 copies of Gold Sarcophagus, so because if you don't get Final Countdown in your first hand, it's really difficult to win. So using Gold Sarcophagus to then get it is very useful. And if you already have Final Countdown up, or you already have it in your hand, you can use it to search for any stalling card that you think is really useful. I usually go for 1 Day of Peace because one, it makes sure I don't take any damage for 1 turn with the opponent's turn, so that gives me 2 more turns for Final Countdown. And I get a free draw, which means I get, let's say, Waboku, Thunder of Ruler, Zero Guard, any other card that can help me stall. So when I already have Final Countdown, I usually go into 1 Day of Peace, because I think the 1 Day of Peace will get hit in the next ban list. It won't be banned, I think, but it'll either go to limited or semi-limited, because this is a very, very useful card, used in a lot of stalling decks, in Exodia decks, all those kind of things. And yeah, it's definitely splashable in quite a few decks. Not that splashable like Heavy Storm or MSD, but in any decks that need to stall or draw cards. So I think it'll go to semi-limit. That's going to be my prediction for now. It's 1 month away until the next ban list comes out. Well, we'll go in anyway. But yeah, next up, Pot of Duality. It's not Gold Sarcophagus, which you can choose any card and you get it in your second turn afterwards. But Pot of Duality has you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you can choose one of them, and you immediately get it, and you don't have to wait 2 turns like with the Gold Sarcophagus. So that could definitely help in getting Final Countdown. Would Final Countdown be among the top 3? Or if you already have it out, you can choose any other card that you find very useful to stall. You can't special summon during the turn you activate Pot of Duality, but with these monsters I don't do that. I have monsters in my extra deck that can, but I'll get to those later. I have 2 copies of Swords of Revealing Light. Usually the opponent will have something like Mystical Space Typhoon or Heavy Storm to take it out, but if they don't, Swords of Revealing Light makes the opponent unable to attack for 3 so that's already 3 turns for Final Countdown, plus the 3 turns of yourself, that come between those turns. So that's 6. If the opponent can't get rid of Swords of Revealing Light, that's 6 turns extra for Final Countdown. And I've had a couple of duels where I'm, after the count is at 14, I play Swords, the opponent doesn't see any way to destroy it. They know 6 turns later the count will be at 20. They can't do anything. I win. 3 copies of Frozen Soul. It's a very useful stalling card, but you need your life points to be at least 2,000 points lower than your opponent's. So that works very well with Final Countdown, since you do pay 2,000 life points for that. And then you skip your opponent's next battle phase. There's one little, in a little annoying ruling. Not really annoying ruling, but yeah, there have been some minor fights and arguments about the effect of this card, because you don't have to go into your battle phase during your turn. You're forced to go into draw phase, standby phase, main phase 1, and end phase. You're not forced to go battle phase and then main phase 2. So would a player, like let's say I activate Frozen Soul on my opponent's turn, and the opponent goes from main phase 1 to end phase. Normally, and that's what both players usually think about, that they don't go into battle phase because they can't due to Frozen Soul. But since you're not forced to go into battle phase, just going into end phase doesn't mean that you planned to go into battle phase. It may sound confusing to some of you, but a good amount of the competitive players will probably know what I'm talking about. So then the opponent's turn after that, the opponent would say, yeah, I can attack now. And then if you're really annoying and you're a user of Frozen Soul, you can say, no, you cannot, because Frozen Soul has you skip your next battle phase, and you never skipped the one on your previous turn. So you'll still have to skip this one. So, and there have been quite a lot of arguments about this. I've read about it while using this deck, like the first few duels I used it. And apparently, there's this new judge ruling for tournaments, but I also use it on Dueling Network, that when I use Frozen Soul and the opponent doesn't enter the battle phase, I specifically ask them, do you skip battle phase for Frozen Soul? The opponent usually answers confused, like, yes, duh, because I can't attack. Something like that. Because they don't understand the arguments that I just explained. But to make sure that confusion, that argument doesn't start up, I ask them to do that, and in the end they always answer yes. So far they have anyway. So then it's logical, but I have to do it because in those judge rulings that I've read, I can't exactly remember where though. Might be the Frozen Soul Wiki. I can't exactly remember. It was a few weeks ago, but yeah. I lost my train of thought. If you still have a question about Frozen Soul and about the argument, I think I know. What was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, because in the example with the annoying Frozen Soul player that I gave earlier, when they say, yeah, you never said you skipped it last turn, so you can't do it now. That is what caused the argument. So then when the judge came over, they were like, yeah, but he didn't enter battle phase because that. But then the annoying player says, yeah, but he couldn't skip that. In that case, the Frozen Soul player will get a warning or of some sorts. At least in the example that was given there, the Frozen Soul player was given a warning because they didn't ask, and the opponent didn't know about this. I wouldn't say loophole, but this confusing thingy about Frozen Soul. But the opponent, both players, I know the Frozen Soul player was given a warning. Can't remember about the opponent, but yeah, that's why I always ask, so I don't get into trouble with anything. I hope you understand. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments. Now let's continue with the rest of the deck. 3 copies of Threatening Roar. The opponent cannot declare an attack this turn. Important ruling with it. It says your opponent cannot declare an attack this turn. So from the moment you activate it and the rest of the turn, until the end of that turn, the opponent can't declare an attack. But if the opponent declares an attack and then you activate Threatening Roar, then declaring that specific attack happened before Threatening Roar attack was active, so that attack actually goes through. So usually I activate my traps the moment the opponent draws something in the draw phase, but the last time, if you want to use Threatening Roar during the opponent's turn, the last time you can use it without having the opponent attack is at the moment they enter battle phase. Because as soon as they declare an attack, that attack will go through, because Threatening Roar can't stop it anymore. I have 3 copies of Thunder of Ruler. This card can only be activated during the opponent's standby phase, and the opponent cannot conduct his or her battle phase this turn. It's comparable to Threatening Roar. Cannot declare an attack this turn and cannot conduct battle phase this turn. Threatening Roar does make the opponent able to go into battle phase, and because of that, main phase 2. I wouldn't know really why, because most of the effects that do activate in battle phase involve a battle of some kind. Let's say Metaion, the Time Lord. You do actually need to attack, which you can't. And Thunder of Ruler can only be activated in the standby phase. So would the opponent draw or already have in their hand Mystical Space Typhoon and play it during their draw phase after drawing their card, they can get rid of Thunder of Ruler and I can't stall with that card during my turn, during their turn. But Threatening Roar, I can do that because I can just chain it to MSD. So in that way, Threatening Roar does have a little advantage over Thunder of Ruler. So would I decide to side some of them out, Thunder of Ruler usually goes out first. And then finally I have 3 copies of Waboku. When you play it, you take no battle damage this turn, and your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. So it's sort of a Zero Gardener's effect. Yeah, because your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, you don't take any battle damage. It's pretty much a trap version of Zero Gardener's effect. Or, well, Zero Gardener is a monster version of Waboku, really, because Waboku existed from the very beginning, or at least shortly after that, and Zero Gardener came in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Then, usually I do the extra deck after the main deck, but I'm not, no, I'm gonna do the extra deck. In my deck, it doesn't use synchros. I don't use fusions, so that I don't put in my extra deck. Normally, I'd then put my extra deck full of Xyz monsters, because then, in some situations they might be useful. And in all seriousness, maybe. But it's I've played this deck quite often, and I haven't encountered any situation where I would have wanted to summon any Xyz monster. Because I want this guy to keep on stalling, not going to summon any rank 1, and most of them will bring out rank 1s anyway. With Zero Garna, I could bring out rank 4, let's say Photon, Papal Operative, number 50 Blackhorn, Utopia, Gemini Pearl, those kind of monsters, but there's very few occasions that I get multiple Zero Gardenas on my field, which has happened before. When I summon one and I also have Threatening Roar, it has happened before. So maybe I should really put some rank 4s in it for the very, very few occasions that might pop up where I would want one. But when creating this deck, I just went like troll side deck, making my opponent think I have something good. But yeah, I have Flame Ghost, the weakest fusion there is, not counting Fusionist. Cherubin the Fire Knight because I felt like it. Ultimate Axon Kicker, just some weak and strong monsters. Dragoic East, Rainbow Neos, Armitile, Divine Neos, Barbara, the Ultimate Battle Machine, Turbo Cannon, the only level 3 synchro there is, Archfiend Zombie Skull, Dirac Meteor, Tech Genus Blade Blaster, Malefic Paradox Dragon, Red Nova Dragon, and Tech Genus Halberd Cannon. I had a few other cards in my extra deck before, but they weren't officially released in the TCG just yet, like Violent Omega. So for this deck to be legal for a TCG only tournament, even though I wasn't going to use my extra deck ever, I did have to replace them, and I wasn't going to use them anyway, so it didn't really matter. In my side deck, I have 3 copies of Lava Golem, and this is what I usually side into if the opponent does not use many Xyz monsters, especially if they don't use any Xyz monsters at all. Then I go into Lava Golem, because if Final Countdown somehow fails, or even if it's in effect starting my first turn, Lava Golem can be a second win condition. Even though it's not really a win condition card, if the opponent can't get rid of it, the opponent takes 1,000 damage each of their turns. And usually when I put in Lava Golem, I combine it with both Level Limit Area B, a continuous spell which switches all level 4 or higher monsters into defense, making them unable to attack, so the opponent can't attack with Lava Golem, and Gravity Bind, so all level 4 or higher cannot attack, so you can get rid of either Level Limit or Gravity Bind, but the other will still stop them from attacking. And the reason I said I usually play it when the opponent doesn't use Xyz monsters is because I kind of need, well, a little at least, Gravity Bind and Level Limit to stall for Lava Golem. I can still stall with Threatening Roar, Thunder Ruler, Wabuku and all, but Level Limit and Gravity Bind will really help with it. And Xyz monsters don't have levels, they have ranks, so Xyz monsters aren't at all affected by Level Limit Area B and Gravity Bind, so even if both of them are even on the field, or one of them, they can still attack. And now, there's something about Lava Golem. When siding in Lava Golem, I usually take out all 3 copies of Frozen Soul, because I'm gonna put in like Gravity Bind or Level Limit either way, so I have more Soul cards instead of Frozen Soul. But Frozen Soul can only be activated when your life points at least 2,000 lower than your opponent's. Final Countdown will get me to that 2,000 lower, but as soon as Lava Golem's effect damage hits even once, that difference will go to 1,000. And the opponent won't be inflicting lots of battle damage usually, unless I don't get Final Countdown in like the first few turns. I don't really get any good stalling cards either. Then the gap between life points may be bigger, but otherwise Lava Golem will make that the difference in life points is less than 2,000, so I can't use Frozen Soul. So that's usually the first one I take out when siding into these things. I have 1 extra copy of Arcana for Zero the Fool, would I feel the need that it's useful and I want another monster to stall. 3 copies of MSD to take out annoying opponents' spells and traps. Royal Decree mostly, because if the opponent uses Royal Decree, I'm kind of screwed, because I do have a couple of stalling cards in spells, 1 day apiece, and my monsters, but without my traps in effect, nah, not going to be useful. So these are there in case the opponent has Royal Decree. 2 copies of Volcanic Queen. I put it in since it's sort of a weaker Lava Golem. But the point is, the opponent can actually use Volcanic Queen's effect against me, tribute one of their monsters, and inflicting 1000 damage to me. And the opponent doesn't have to take damage at the end of their turn. They can also tribute one of their monsters and nothing happens. So, yeah. I've never used Volcanic Queen, probably will never side into it, so if any of you has any idea of what else I could side in my side deck instead of Volcanic Queen, then please tell me and I'll consider it. And then finally, in my extra deck, I decided, I don't really have any other idea what to put in my side deck. I'm going to troll. I put in... Really? Really? Fine. Yeah, my talking about Frozen Soul probably took too long. But yeah, I originally put in Bat, but as I just said for the TCG tournament, I had to replace some cards, and Bat is an OCG only card, so I replaced it with another weak troll card, Petimoth. So yeah, that's Final Countdown v.2012. DanielFireWalker, I hope that you enjoyed this deck profile and that you'll be continuing to watch my videos in the future. Alright guys, this is it. And before I leave, I would like to tell you about something, and that is my Facebook page, because I have a personal Facebook page, of course, which I only add my real friends on, but I also have an Alka193 Facebook page. And on there, you will get updates on new videos that are upcoming, new projects I'm working on things I'm doing, planning for my channel. You'll get knowledge ahead of time of new projects I'll be working on my channel, special things that will be coming up, like a special duel against a really big YouTuber. You'll get knowledge of that ahead of time if you like that page. Also, I'll sometimes have polls in which I have you vote on certain things. That could be who should I duel for my next video, and then I name, let's say, 3-4 big YouTubers, and then you vote, and then I choose one of them, and that'll be it. I'll go after that person, and there'll be quite a lot more things that I'll be asking you. I may ask for suggestions on that page as well for my channel in general, not just for Yu-Gi-Oh, but also for vlogs, for my Pokemon LP, for all kinds of things. And I'd really appreciate it if you guys would go into Facebook and like that page, because you don't always have to give suggestions or answer the polls, even though I'd really appreciate that as well. But for just to give feedback, to give suggestions, so I can improve my channel, improve the things I do to make it more enjoyable for my viewers, that's what I really want. Because of course I enjoy what I'm doing, otherwise I wouldn't be making these videos, really. But I also really want to have you guys enjoy it. So please, if you would, please go to that page and give me feedback, give me new ideas. You have new ideas for my channel that I never thought about for vlogs things. You can of course PM me on YouTube. I would suggest doing that if you don't have a Facebook, because I won't force you to make a Facebook. But if you have Facebook, please go to my Alka193 Facebook page. I'll put a link in the description and maybe even in an annotation. I'll see if that works. And please, if you could please go there. Sounds like I'm begging you almost now, saying please that often. But yeah, I have that page, and I haven't gotten any new likes for quite a long time. But I know that if quite a lot of you will like that page, then I could really get that page going, because I don't really get that much response. Quite a few people have liked it. I believe I have 37 likes on it at the moment, but it's like a couple of people see the post and I barely ever get any response. So I would really like it if you would go there and respond to some of my questions there, or answer polls, give suggestions, give feedback, that kind of stuff. Because I believe I never really advertised for my Facebook page ever since I started doing a lot of YouTube, Dueling Network things, Yu-Gi-Oh things. So with a lot more viewers now, with a lot more subscribers that are here for Yu-Gi-Oh. If you could just please go there, and you'll get feedback, not really feedback, but you'll get extra info about new Yu-Gi-Oh projects I'm working on, and everything I just explained. I don't think I need to repeat it again. And well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have Facebook, please consider liking my Facebook page. And if you're not really sure, then please still like it, and then you can always unlike later. But I'm going to try my very best to keep you guys entertained, both on here and on Facebook. Right, guys, that'll be the end of this very long deck profile video with Petit Moth. We're saying you. We're saying you. That's not a good English sentence. Great way to end it. Fail. Anyway, bye-bye.